We are at day 13 of Travel Agency in a Year podcast. My name is Rachel and I am your host. I'm going to be walking you through building a travel agency in a year that works for you and your lifestyle. If you don't know who I also am a travel agency owner and I have made all the mistakes so you don't have to. And, I also offer through my other business, Elevate with Rachel K, courses, coaching, mentoring services, so on and so forth. But I want this podcast to be free 99 for all of you who are like, I'm brand new. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I need to do. This is technically a companion to my Success Circle program, which is $35 a month for 12 months to really help you step into becoming the CEO of your travel business. Okay, enough about that. One more plug though. Subscribe, share with a travel advisor you know that might need some help. Maybe, or not. It's fine. Comment on whatever. Let's get some interaction, people. So today's episode is all about boundaries. If you haven't been listening to the last few episodes and you just stumbled upon this episode for one reason or another, I've been talking the last few episodes about your schedule, giving yourself PTO, managing your schedule as a travel advisor when you have a full-time job or when you have children at home that you have to take care of, because it's a lot and it really is dependent on what your goals are. Even if you are working another full-time job, you've got to have the discipline and dedication to build this up if you want to build this up to a sustainable business. Now, if you're just like, oh, I want to just book trips for my family and friends and I don't care how much money, I don't have to worry about money, then why are you here? It's fine. Just enjoy your life and be grateful for all the blessings you have. Um, with that being said, I'd like to talk about boundaries and also how it ties into your schedule. So these last few episodes talking about schedules, and those are like the foundations of boundaries in your business. Those are the times that you will be available to serve customers or clients, to take consultations for leads and hopefully convert them into happy repeat referring clients. It's all based on how much you can manage. What do you have capacity for? And that's just like you have got to have boundaries in your business. When I started in travel, I don't know what was going on with my brain to where I was like, I can book anything and everything, and I'll just be available at the drop of a hat, and I'll reply to emails and text messages, and I'll answer every single phone call, even though now that I'm a registered business, it's a bunch of spam calls about funding for my business. And it drives you nuts. So I'm going to give you some tips a little bit on more boundaries, but it's really how you want to have your business structured. I'll tell you what works for me. You do you. I like just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. So the first boundary I had to implement was uh pretty much no texting with my clients. And I know some other people out there will be like, no, you should absolutely text your clients because that's what they like. That does not work for me. It causes me great anxiety. Like it got to the point, great anxiety. It got to the point where if I heard anyone texting me on my phone, I'd be like, it's a client that needs something and I don't want to deal with this right now. I'm trying to eat or read a book or work out or take a walk, whatever. And I'd hear boop, 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 whatever my notification was back then. And I just go into instant panic mode. And I didn't know who it was. And I didn't know if they just had the world's dumbest question or if they just wanted to thank me or if they were upset about something. Like I had no idea what was coming in. And it led to many a sleepless night. That's one boundary I had to implement, was no longer accepting phone calls unless they're scheduled appointments. And then I call them, and no text messages. Even when they're traveling, they message me through a different app. There's no texting. Now, that's not to say that I'm like a hard no on texting. For my business, I primarily do a lot of group travel and destination weddings. So the group host, I will save them as a contact in my phone. and I will reply to them as soon as I can. But I tell them before they sign on to work with me, I don't have notifications on my phone turned on at all. Nothing. No sounds ever. So if you text me, I will see it when I check my text messages. I will not reply right away. And I also, we're going to get into other boundaries. I have other things that I disclose to them on when I check my emails and when I reply to emails. This helped me a lot as I scaled my business to serving thousands of people, because there was at one point there would be like 40 people texting me daily, and they'd be like, "Hey, I'm invited to the wedding. Can you send me more information?" Well, I've already emailed you a ton of information and a website with all the information you need. And also, I don't know what wedding you're even referring to, because I don't just do one wedding a year. So I had to establish that boundary. What I'm saying is, all my notifications are off on my phone. I check my text messages maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the day, and I don't worry about it. I do my best to reply as quickly as I can, but you can't be on call 24/7, like 365. No, you'll lose your mind, especially if you have business. If you don't have a whole lot of business coming in, we all lean that way because we want people to be really, really happy with us. Okay. Then I put in my email schedule, if any clients traveling, this is how you contact me, and you have my contact information for this app. All other calls by appointment only. Schedule a call here. And I have that linked to like a general Calendly 30-minute appointment. Okay. And I have that on my website, and I have it on, like, when I have my group booking page emailed out to everyone on the guest list, that information is on there as well. It's linked there. So that was another boundary I had to establish. And I'm telling you this because you may not think of it when you're like, oh, I only got like 5 or 10 people I'm working with, or maybe 20 or 30 people, but it's totally possible for you to scale to much, much higher numbers of people that you're serving, and it will get to you. So why not consider these things now? Okay. Another boundary that I switched to was keeping everything via email, like every bit of communication via email. Now, I do get a one off text from like a wedding couple, and they'll be like, hey, so and so said they can't go, or something to that effect. Or, hey, can we do a planning call? Like, I need to cancel my planning call, or we need to change the time, little things like that. Nothing major. And that's fine. Um, but I don't really ask for anyone to communicate with me via text. I like to do everything via email. It's easier for me to find and track. If there's any weird stuff going on or miscommunication, it's clearly spelled out via email versus like me sending a random text. So, anytime someone does text me that isn't like a group host that I don't have saved as a contact, I will reply to them and I'll be like, sure, what's the best email for me to send you this information? And if I happen to know their phone number because it's in my CRM already, then I'll look up in my CRM, like, I have this email. Is this a good email for you? And then they might reply and be like, oh, no, that's a terrible email. Why do you even have that email? Well, you gave it to me. But anyway, or if I don't have them in the system, then I'll be like, can you send me an email address that's good to send you this information? So I just like politely move it to email. And it saves me a lot of headache because my VA can see all the emails. It's not just in my phone. I don't have all these random phone numbers of people I don't know who they are. And a lot of times with like wedding guests, they may never book another trip again. So why would I save that contact? Like they may never book with me again, or they may never book another international trip in general. Who knows? Um, so that's another boundary that I've implemented outside of just my schedule. Now, when they go to schedule a call with me, they can see what my availability is. And I always say to them, like, choose a time that works best for us so that we can get on a call. Like, if they're emailing and they're like, I'm so confused, I will reply to that email and I will say, if you need a call, schedule a call with me. And that way we can choose the best time that works for both of us when you're not at work or distracted by life, and when I have availability so I can focus on this 100% as well. So that's a good way to spin it. Now, if you are new to implementing boundaries in your business, there's so many more that you can do. And you've been in business for a while, you have to kind of like train your clients. This is how we're doing things now. And you may have to come up, there will be pushback and they'll be like, well, why? And the best thing that you can say is we are scaling and I'm getting ready to hire. So I have to, like, we're implementing this new process now so that when I do hire out, or maybe you already have an assistant, so that my assistant can better serve you as well. Just whatever your new boundary or new process is. So it's so important. And I do talk on this. Let's see. In the group Travel Made Easy course, I think I've got like a bonus lesson in there with a boundaries worksheet. Like, what are your boundaries in your personal life versus boundaries in your professional life? And how can you build this business in a way that respects and honors your boundaries so that you don't drive yourself nuts trying to bend over backwards for all your clients? Because I did that. Don't worry about it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Excuse me. So, what kind of boundaries do you already have in place with your travel agency or travel advisor business if you're working for another agency? And what sort of boundaries could you implement to give you a little more peace of mind, and a little more control in how you structure your own day rather than being at the beck and call of your clients? You could implement a boundary that everyone's got a schedule call with me. You could put in your email signature your business hours, your operating hours, put on your Google My Business page your operating hours. Um, you could require that everything be done via email or your CRM software, including payment submissions. Another boundary that I do is I clearly state everywhere I can if an email comes in or payment comes in after 12 p.m., it will be handled the following business day. And again, I've trained all of my clients, when you're traveling, this is how you contact me. This is the only thing I have that has notifications on my phone. So when I hear it, I know for sure it's someone traveling, right? And I'll get to it sooner than later. If you try to email me while you're traveling, if you text me while you're traveling, if you call me while you're traveling, I don't know this phone number, I'm not going to answer it. There's a high likelihood I could be in a meeting and I could just have my phone away from me. And because everything is silenced, I'm not going to know that's going on until it's too late. So all of my clients understand that as well. When they submit a payment at 12:15 p.m., it's going to be charged to their card the following business day. And I think I mentioned this in a previous episode about email signatures. Like, if you're going to be out of office, put it in your email signature like 2 weeks ahead of time. And you could send a mass email out to everyone. But at least putting it in your email signature, most people will be emailing you that you're working with, and they'll have had that advance notice. It's at least in writing. Okay, so what kind of boundaries can you implement? Not just your schedule, that is a boundary. That's what I've been kind of helping you with this week. But are there any other boundaries with methods of communication? I know some travel advisors prefer to only run payments certain days of the week because that's what works for their schedule, or certain days of the month. What are your boundaries? Are you going to implement a fee system where if they submit a payment late, they have a late payment fee? What does that look like? We could have a whole discussion on that. Um, what do refunds look like? So many things you can consider. All right, thanks for making it today. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about consistency from marketing to service. I've kind of switched it up when I go through here. If you're listening and following along and you're like, some of these are out of order, that's because I feel like something else more important has come up. And I like, no, I'm switching these around. Have patience. All right. See you tomorrow.